Hey folks, this is Matt once again. Probably the last review I'll do for tonight because I'm trying to do just 2 or 3 reviews a night, give or take. But once again, this is thanks to Till from Germany of a film that I really did enjoy. I really thought this was a good film. I know it's a friend, one of my best friends, Mike OCP, reviewed. He was a big fan of this film. I can see why, and that is One Good Cop, which this is from Germany, but this is in widescreen, good picture quality, and I'm glad to have this now because this was a really good film. I'm a fan of Michael Keaton. Haven't seen all of Michael Keaton's films, but he did a really good job with this. I know there's one. I think he was a drug addict. I haven't seen that one. Um, I know there's others. I think there's a comedy that I think Christopher Reeve's in it too, which I thought was weird. It's like Batman, Superman in the same movie. Um, but of course, Batman, Beetlejuice. Uh, I really enjoy those films. What the hell was that one called? Oh, fuck. I gotta look it up. Shit, really. I had the picture of it in my head, but I cannot remember the fucking movie. And so now I'm gonna waste some amount of time in this goddamn review looking for it. For those wondering, Wonder Cop not only stars Michael Keaton, but also stars Rene Russo, Anthony LaPaglia, has Benjamin Bratt in it. You have Tony Plana, who's the villain. He was in I remember him being the warden in Half Past Dead with Steven Seagal. Gun Ho, that's what I was thinking. Uh, Mr. Mom, I had fun with. Gun Ho, I enjoyed. Clean and Sober, that's the one I haven't seen yet. I'm not sure if it's drugs or alcohol. I haven't seen that one. Dream Team is fun. Pacific Heights is a good thriller. Multiplicity, that's a film I have to give another watch. Multiplicity. Um, Actually, same with Jack Frost. I have to give that another watch. White Noise, fuck that movie. That movie's ending sucked. A lot of dicks. But One Good Cop does not suck. It is actually pretty good. Some sites say this is an action film. It's not an action film. I mean, it has 2 or 3 bits of action, shootouts, but it's more of a drama. It's more of a drama. At least that's what I would call it, more of a drama. Michael Keaton, again, like the title says, he's a cop. He's with Rene Russo. His partner is Anthony LaPaglia, which I've seen him in a bunch of stuff. You guys can look him up. And Michael Keaton's partner, Anthony LaPaglia, his wife is dead. His wife got sick and died, but he has 3 daughters, 3 very young daughters. And Michael Keaton and them are partners, and you actually start off with you have this. They get held up in an elevator, and both of them have to fight these guys off, which is a pretty cool scene. Takes from the elevator to outside the elevator. Well done stuff. Like I said, Benjamin Bratt, he's a cop. He does a good job in this film. All the acting is solid all around. I have no problems with the acting. Michael Keaton has a very likable personality. Like when he gets home to Rene Russo and he's bruised up, he's like, "Yeah, yeah, I got hit by this gypsy cab and blah blah blah." And Rene Russo's like, "Oh, this cab, huh? It had knuckles." And you have good scenes between the 2 cops, like the Anthony LaPaglia worrying about what happened to his wife and he wasn't good enough for her and stuff like that. One thing leads to another. They get called to this crack junkie who took his wife and kids hostage, and they get there. And the guy lets the kids go, but Anthony LaPaglia, he goes first. I mean, the first time we see him, we see that he's wide awake, and his eyes kind of look bloodshot, and maybe he hasn't been sleeping well, and he's a little bit out of it. Unfortunately, he goes head first, and Michael Keaton tells him, no, no, don't. Gets in, stops the guy, and turns around. And it's a really sad scene the way they shot this up. I thought they did a good job setting this up. It's a really sad scene, though, where Michael Keaton throughout the film, I mean, it's even the last film of the last line of the movie, he has this thing that he says, "Hey, we're alive, right? We're alive, partner." Well, he says it to his partner, and he tilts his head up, and unfortunately, he's got a bullet to the head. So Michael Keaton has a good reaction. He just sits there, and he ultimately has to go home. And he has a really good scene on the bench, on this bench outside with Rene Russo, just not really breaking down like tears, but that fine balance. And he does a really good job. I don't want to give it away, what he says and all that. I don't want to give every little thing away. But pretty much the gist of it is the three girls are orphans. He's been put as a guardian for these three, and he has to figure out what to do. He has to figure out his wife, his woman, Rene Russo, I guess she couldn't have a baby, and now she thinks of this as now her children, so she doesn't want to let him go. And Michael Keaton even says, like, we don't have enough money, we don't have enough room in a small apartment. And a lot of the film is them trying to deal with these kids. And when I say trying to deal, I don't mean like Mr. Mom and stuff. I mean, because the kids are pretty much all sweethearts. I mean, the oldest, she's pretty smart for her age. The other two are pretty cute little girls. The 5-year-old is a diabetic, and he's sort of nervous giving this needle, and she goes, "Oh, this happens to me every day." And the way she said that kind of really makes you feel bad for the girl, just like she's used to it. It really makes you feel bad. So there's also a scene later on where they go to this amusement park, and Rene Russo takes her eyes off, and the girl's missing, and Michael Keaton has to find her, and they get scared from that. Even the oldest girl sort of gets mad at Rene Russo. You should have been watching her and this and that. So you have some good drama going on. And amidst all that, the other plot is he has his new partner, Benjamin Bratt, and Tony Plana. After talking to the crack junkie who ultimately killed his partner, he gets some info that he got the drugs and shit from Tony Plana, our main bad guy. He's sort of dealing with them and trying to figure out with them. So it's that back and forth, those two plots. It pretty much ends up with Michael Keaton. He's sort of at his last wits. He gets a mask. He finds out where this money is, puts a mask on, gets in, steals the money, and goes all. And he takes the money, gives most of it to this church, but keeps enough so that they can buy this house for like $25,000. And of course, the guy wants it back, and that's where you get this shootout at the end where Michael Keaton's been kidnapped. But thankfully, he did the smart thing. He moved his family so that bad guys can't find him. So I like that. I like it's not the typical, oh, he has the family held hostage. He can't do this, can't do that. I like that. I like that. Okay, they're not going with that route. It's just he's there. And actually, you have this actress, Rachel Ticotin. She was in, I remember in the most from Con Air. She was in Con Air. She's been in quite a few other films. Was she in Total Recall? Yeah, she was in Total Recall. Yeah, that's right. A lot of films. Critical Condition, Total Recall, this film, FX2, Falling Down, Turbulence, Con Air. Been a lot of good films. Well, Turbulence, I'm not really the biggest fan of. To be honest, I like the trailer more, the Turbulence, than the movie. Maybe it's a movie I have to see again. To be honest, Turbulence I haven't seen in a long time. But these other films I really enjoy. You find out that she's actually undercover, so she helps Michael Keaton now, and you have a... I mean, the shootouts, when I say shootouts, I mean, you have a little bit of action at the beginning in the elevator. You have a shootout in the middle where it's actually... They go to this basement-type area, and there's these rats, and one of them bites one of them, and the shootout breaks out. I know it's kind of a weird... Kind of a thing that I don't think you needed. I don't think you need the rat thing in there. I thought that's kind of silly. But it's nothing great. It's just a shootout, sort of typical shootout. But I like the one in the end where him and Rachel Ticotin drown this guy, and they go off, and he shoots these guys. The bad guy is burning up the place, and Michael Keaton actually gets his sword and stabs into the guy's stomach. And I thought it was well done for what it had to do. It was well done. And the ending, I enjoy, but it's a little too clean cut. But at the same time, I'm like, alright, it's okay. I don't need to see a depressing ending. Pretty much, his boss, he's free of, he's free from prostitution or anything. Rachel Ticotin's not going to testify against him. He dropped the reason I have a teeny problem. It's going to be stupid, but it's kind of hard to believe. It's a movie, so that's why I say it's stupid. It's a movie. That's why I only say it's a teeny problem. It's not a big problem. It's a teeny problem because it's like, okay, now Richard Ticotin, okay, that can make sense. She's not going to testify after stuff they went through at the end. But then the cops are going to give some of their paychecks up. Remember I said Michael Keaton left most of the money to the church. The guy brought it back. Then the Richard Ticotin's superiors, they don't want their men in the field being found out, so they're not going to do anything of it. So the government's not going to do anything of it. And the captain's like, you know what, I lost a good man, Anthony LaPaglia's character. And guys like him and you are just too hard to replace. So I'm like, okay, now he's being okay with it. And it's almost like a little too nifty of a tie of all the loose ends. A little too nifty of a tie. That's why it's only a little problem. It's not a big problem. And to be honest, of the evils, I'd rather go with that than a very depressing ending where he gets put in jail and he's going to be gang raped. Batman's going to be Buckman in jail. I don't need that to happen. And at the end of the day, he did it for a good reason. Which again, I know there's a lot of people in movies that they do it for a good reason, and it's like, well, it's still not right. But at the end of the day, I'd rather go with this than the alternative. But I just had to point that out. Otherwise, I had to point that out. And there may be people who may be bothered by that more than me. But to me, that's only a nitpick. At the same time, I'm like, well, how else would you do it? How else would you rework it? And I honestly don't know. But I just had to say it. But it's only a teeny tiny thing. It's already that's a little bit too neat. But is it more of a drama film? Don't want to go into expecting an action film, despite the fact that cover there just looks like it's supposed to be an action film. But it's well acted. It's nice to see Rene Russo in this. Michael Keaton does a really good job. The supporting roles do a good job. Tony Plant as the villain was fine. The little girls were cute. Nice, idea of the plot. A guy who has to sort of take care of his partner's kids after now they're orphans, trying to figure out how to deal with that. Overall, I thought it was a well done movie. It was a well done film. I don't really have that many problems with the film. I thought the film went at a decent length, about an hour and 40 minutes. Never got bored with the film. It was well shot. The music fit well. But yeah, I like the motif that they keep using with his line. It's actually the last line of the movie where he calls Rene Russo and he goes, "We're alive. We're alive, partner. We're alive." I thought that was nice that they brought that back. So something that carried through the film. The little shootout action scene at the end, what I thought was well done, was when I say well done, it's not like John Woo or anything. It's not like Die Hard or anything. It's it's a shootout, but I thought it was done well enough. Good solid ending to the movie. And again, Michael Keaton did a really good job. If you're a fan of Michael Keaton, it's definitely worth a watch. If you're a fan of dramas, if the plot at all interests you, or if anything I said interests you, definitely give this a watch. It's well worth a look. Wonder Cop. It's a good film. Not sure what more I can say than that, but thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you later.